The Seattle Seahawks just received some unexpected news that could have a major impact on the future of the organization. One of the team's most important front office executives is now being targeted for a general manager position by another NFL franchise, while at the same time, new reports are revealing another billionaire interested in buying the Seahawks. And honestly, these two situations could change a lot more in Seattle than people realize. And I'm here to keep you well informed, so click the like button. It's free for you, but it means a lot to me. And write in the comments, "Go Hawks!" The Seattle Seahawks just got hit with a piece of news that could quietly become one of the biggest developments surrounding this organization over the next few months. Because according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Seahawks assistant general manager Nolan Teasley is now being interviewed by the Minnesota Vikings for their vacant general manager position. And if you've been following how Seattle has operated behind the scenes over the last decade, then you already know this is not some random front office name getting tossed around for publicity. This is one of the most respected people inside the building, someone who has been working side by side with John Schneider for years, and now there is a very real possibility that another NFC franchise could pull him away from Seattle at a crucial time for the future of this team. What makes this situation even more fascinating is how unusual the Vikings handled their process. Minnesota actually went through the entire 2026 NFL Draft without a true general manager in place, allowing the coaching staff to take control during one of the most important roster-building events of the year before circling back to finalize their front office structure afterward. That alone tells you they are trying to think outside the box. And when a team starts doing unconventional things like that, it usually means they are willing to aggressively pursue candidates they believe can reshape the organization long-term. And, apparently, Nolan Teasley is one of those names. Teasley originally joined the Seahawks organization back in 2013 as a scouting intern. Since then, he has climbed through nearly every level of the front office structure. He worked as a pro scout, then assistant director of pro personnel, then director of pro personnel, before eventually becoming assistant general manager in 2023. That kind of rise does not happen accidentally in the NFL. Organizations do not hand out promotions like that unless someone consistently proves their value year after year. The Seahawks clearly saw him as one of the foundational pieces of their football operations department. And here is the part Seahawks fans should really pay attention to. Teasley has been deeply involved in helping build both Super Bowl-era rosters in Seattle. When people talk about the Seahawks' sustained success over the last decade, most fans immediately think of Pete Carroll and John Schneider, which is understandable. But championship organizations are never built by just two people. There are always key evaluators behind the scenes helping identify talent, manage personnel decisions, and construct the culture of the team. Teasley has reportedly been one of those major contributors for years. That is why this news matters so much more than people initially realize. Losing assistant coaches is one thing. Losing a respected front office executive who has spent over a decade helping shape the roster is something entirely different. Especially now, during a period where the Seahawks are trying to position themselves for long-term contention under this current leadership structure. The interesting part is that if Teasley does leave for Minnesota and becomes their general manager, Seattle would receive 2 third-round compensatory picks as part of the NFL's executive development compensation policy. On paper, that sounds fantastic. 2 extra third-round picks can absolutely help reload a roster with young talent. We have seen John Schneider find quality players in the middle rounds before. The Seahawks historically have not been afraid to trust their scouting department in those areas of the draft. But compensatory picks do not replace institutional knowledge. That is the real concern here. You can replace draft capital. You cannot easily replace years of chemistry between top executives inside a front office. According to reports discussed in the transcript, Teasley has essentially become John Schneider's right-hand man over the years. He has been heavily involved in personnel evaluations and roster construction decisions. Losing somebody with that level of trust and experience always creates uncertainty, even if the organization remains strong overall. And the Vikings are clearly taking this search seriously because they have reportedly reached out to multiple assistant general managers around the NFL, including executives connected to the Chargers, 49ers, Titans, Rams, and Bills. That tells you Minnesota is casting a wide net, looking for someone capable of leading an entire football operation. The fact that Teasley is included in that group says a lot about how highly respected he has become league-wide. From Seattle's perspective, this becomes a difficult balancing act emotionally. On one hand, you never want to lose someone valuable. On the other hand, opportunities to become an NFL general manager are incredibly rare. There are only 32 of those jobs in the world, and openings do not happen often. So, while Seahawks fans may desperately want Teasley to stay, there is also a sense that he has earned the right to pursue this opportunity if Minnesota truly sees him as their guy. And honestly, it says something positive about the Seahawks organization itself that teams around the league continue targeting people from Seattle's front office. Successful franchises develop talent not only on the field, but inside the building as well. When other teams start interviewing your executives, it usually means your organization is viewed as stable, respected, and capable of producing high-level football minds. Still, there is no denying this creates some anxiety. Because anytime a team loses someone considered culturally important, professionally respected, and heavily involved in decision-making, there is always concern about what comes next. That is exactly why so many Seahawks fans reacted strongly when this report surfaced. But that was not the only major storyline connected to Seattle recently. At the same time this front office news was developing, another fascinating report emerged involving the future ownership situation of the Seahawks franchise itself. According to reports discussed from Sportico, billionaire investor Vinod Khosla is preparing a bid to potentially purchase the Seattle Seahawks. And this is where things suddenly get really interesting, because unlike some of the other rumored ownership candidates, Khosla already has NFL ties. He is reportedly a minority owner with the San Francisco 49ers right now. Think about how wild that is for a second. A current investor connected to one of Seattle's biggest division rivals could potentially become the next owner of the Seahawks. That immediately raises questions across the NFL world about what this could mean long-term for the organization, the rivalry, and the direction of the franchise moving forward. Khosla, who co-founded Sun Microsystems and became one of the most prominent venture capital investors in Silicon Valley, is reportedly worth around $14.5 billion according to Forbes. Financially, there is no question he has the resources necessary to make a serious bid. And with NFL franchise values continuing to explode, the Seahawks could reportedly become one of the first teams ever sold for more than $10 billion. That number alone shows you just how massive this situation has become. Remember, Paul Allen purchased the Seahawks back in 1997 for roughly $200 million. Fast forward to today, and the value of NFL franchises has skyrocketed beyond almost anything sports owners could have imagined decades ago. The NFL is essentially printing money right now, and investors around the world know it. Which brings up another huge question Seahawks fans are debating right now. Does Khosla genuinely love football, or does he simply view NFL ownership as one of the safest long-term investments in sports and business? Because there is a difference. Fans want an owner fully committed to winning championships, investing in facilities, supporting football operations, and maintaining the aggressive culture Seahawks fans expect. Nobody wants an owner who treats the team purely as a financial asset, while prioritizing profit margins above competitive success. At the same time, Kosla's previous involvement with the 49ers at least suggests he understands the NFL landscape better than some outside billionaires who have never been connected to football before. That experience could matter significantly during an ownership transition. But there is also an important detail here. If Kosla were to successfully purchase the Seahawks, he would reportedly have to sell his minority stake in the 49ers. NFL rules would not allow him to maintain ownership interests in both franchises simultaneously. So this would represent a complete transition if it actually happened. And the truth is, this entire ownership process is only beginning. More names are going to emerge. More billionaires are going to get linked to Seattle. More rumors are going to surface about potential bidding wars, investment groups, and competing offers. The Seahawks are one of the premier NFL franchises located in a massive sports market with one of the league's strongest fan bases. There is going to be enormous interest from powerful investors who want control of this organization. And now the future of the Seattle Seahawks suddenly feels more uncertain than it did just a few days ago. You have one of the most respected executives in the organization potentially leaving for a general manager job, and at the exact same time, the ownership situation around this franchise is starting to heat up in a major way. These are the kinds of behind-the-scenes developments that can completely shape the direction of a team for years, and Seahawks fans are watching all of it unfold in real time. So now I want to hear from you. If Nolan Teasley ends up leaving Seattle for Minnesota, how big of a loss do you think that would be for the Seahawks? And what are your thoughts on the possibility of Vinod Khosla becoming the next owner of this franchise? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, because this conversation is only getting started. And there are going to be a lot more major updates coming very soon around this team. And if you want to stay ahead of every single Seahawks development, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now, leave a like on the video, and turn on notifications so you never miss breaking news surrounding Seattle. And when you finish this video, click the next one that's already on your screen, because the biggest Seahawks stories are just getting started. And you'll only find the latest updates right here.